We started the Meaningful Ideas Trading Club as a place for people to show up and share ideas on personal development and business development. So what we all agree to here, though, is that there's a treasure out there, that we will find it, and that the treasure is worth it. Today, our special guest is Jackie Wing from Elevate Yoga in Sheboygan. So tell me a little bit about, first off, if you could just explain Elevate Yoga. What is it? Where is it? We'll start with that. And then I'd like to get into how you got into the business.
Sure. So Elevate Yoga is on 617 North 8th Street. We just opened May 22nd. And it's pretty exciting and really grateful you're having us on here today. Thanks.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what were you doing before you started this yoga studio?
My background is in accounting, and I've been in some version or variation of accounting or finance for the last 14-ish years, something. And right out of school, I started with Kohler Company. I was in the accounting department there for a few years. I worked at Sargento for a few years in a sort of similar accounting role. Grew into more of a sales support. And then the last two positions, I was at American Orthodontics and Seiko AEI Polymers. And all of them really were some version of accounting, cost accounting, pricing. So as you could see and hear, I just kind of traveled my way through privately held manufacturing companies in Sheboygan County. I followed a path that seemed to make sense for me out of school. I did the thing, went to college, got a job, followed that career path continuously. I got my MBA from UW Oshkosh, kind of partway through this past career. And I continued to feel like I was always like grasping for the next thing. And I love the opportunities that I had with the businesses that I worked for. I met some incredible people. I had some really good experiences. I got to do some international travel. And I really did see a lot of organizational health in more ways than just financially. What makes a healthy department? What makes a great manager? Some of the pieces of, how does each organization kind of view their health as a company? And of course, still on the financial side, that was key. This was, if I come back to the concept of never discounting the journey you're on, I don't feel like I wasted 15 years of my life doing something that I'm no longer doing, because I'm using so much of what I had done, what I went to school for, and I still really did learn a lot along the way. And then last year, I've been thinking about opening a yoga studio for, honestly, probably, I could say 10 years. I've been teaching for 5, but it was one of those, like, people talk about it being a dream. Like, I could say it was a dream. I could also say it was that easy answer to the question, like, what would you do if you could do anything? What would you really do?
Yeah.
And that was it. That was my answer.
You said you didn't really have anything to compare your business to. Now, that might be true with respect to, like, you've never had a different yoga studio, or you've worked for some of the big players in our community. When you compare those successful businesses to what you're doing, was your experience working for those businesses helpful to you then when you branched out and decided to do your own business?
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to say, you all know when you're in a good place and when you're questioning if you're in a good place. If they've got, good programs in place, if they take care of their people, that's not necessarily a secret. And so it feels like I had some incredible building blocks to use, things that, as we all know, you run into things that at least help you understand what you don't ever want, things that you don't want to be as a person or as a business. And, on top of that, we just, over time, learning what to offer either people who work for you or people who come to as your customer, So I think, I'm really working to offer things that for my staff that lets them feel strong, lets them feel empowered, gives them the ability to work on things that are their preference, versus me telling them where they fit in the schedule or what they should be teaching. So that's something that's been really important to me in how I help the people who are supporting me.
Hard to open a business, you do it anyways. And this idea of the business plan. So what was different this time for you? Did you force yourself to actually just, once you started bullet pointing or outlining, is that when it started to flow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the difference this time for you? Right? Because we all hear business plan. It's like, no, I don't want to sound formal. Somebody's going to look at it, tell me it's not any good. There's a book that I read. It's called The War of Art, but it talks about that nobody's going to read your book. Just get of the mindset that nobody cares about what you're writing, what you're saying. If you just adopt that mindset, just go out and just do it, obviously 100 times better than not doing it at all. And
Right.
your first book probably is going to suck. So you just got to do another one anyways and just get it out. So
Yep.
you mentioned that you had to give some things up when you were working on that business plan. Tim Grover wrote a book called Relentless, and he was a coach that worked with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and he took these guys and Dwayne Wade, and he took them as basketball players and made them just like superstars, right? So he was telling this story. I was listening to him, and he had this buddy, this guy in town, he kept coming up to him saying like, hey, like, we don't see you, like, we didn't see you at that get together. We didn't see you at the business meeting. We didn't see you here, didn't see you there. And he said, finally, I said to the guy, you know what? I didn't see you at the bank. I was like, oh, dude, like, because he had to cut all that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had to cut out all that other stuff. And that's what people do that really want to succeed. You have to narrow, right? You can't be everywhere.
Right.
Right? Is your business going to work for you if you're doing everything else?
Right. So you wouldn't believe the amount of people who gave me their like most surprised face of all time when I told them I was quitting my job to do this. And
You were
I
crazy,
think,
I bet, right?
mm-hmm,
And those were
mm-hmm,
all people that never quit their job, I bet.
yeah.
And the people
And
that quit
also,
their job and started their business said what?
like, great,
Like,
awesome. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, high five, because, and the first thing out of their mouth is, welcome to the roller coaster. Like it's a big deal. But also I was as scared as they were. I mean, I'm not set in a position to be retiring, or I'm not in a place to just be. It took me forever to decide that anytime anyone asked me why I wasn't opening a studio, it was because I couldn't give up on everything I had done. And all I had to do was change my mindset around how valuable my journey already had been to what I wanted to do, versus looking back at giving anything up or, losing out on this career I thought I needed to keep following, because I was really not fulfilled. I was doing my job, but I didn't love it. And now I do. And I so quickly realized that I didn't hate Monday. Like, that realization was incredible.
Yeah.
I was like, what did Monday ever do to me anyway?
Yeah.
Why did I hate it? I didn't. So that for me was like just the biggest relief. I mean, even when you're like still digging into your personal savings to pay your first month's rent, like, I loved it. I prepared for it. I planned for it. And, another reason why I started last summer planning for this, knowing I needed to make some changes. Also, as you start to build out a business plan, those first few months, you'd be a miracle, and people could hire you to plan their business if you could make money those first couple of months. You have a lot of startup expenses, and there's a lot happening. But the fact that I realized I didn't hate Mondays really was the ticket for me.
Mondays are an opportunity, right?
They are. They
Just
feel
like,
good.
yeah,
I get excited for Monday morning, and like,
yeah,
who says that?
yeah, that's awesome. So we're not advocating here that everyone should just give up their jobs or go
No.
out and start a business, but the point is to find meaning in what you're doing in your life, um, and really really think about that. Are you happier where you are now, or do you have any regrets about really starting this, not being in your former position? Do you have regrets about the length of time it took you to get there, or do you think it just happened when it happened?
No, I really don't. I really don't have any. And I am in a million different ways happier.
So we all have, well, not all of us, maybe you have a better idea, but what is yoga?
It so I when I first started doing yoga, I honestly I was running, I was working, I was like doing everything but stretching my body or my mind. So not really like thinking about strengthening who I was, strengthening myself. And there's this like killer mind body connection that you start to find. And I think there's such a space of finding this body awareness to help us just be stronger as we continue to grow. Like we can't stop getting old. So how about let's help ourselves get old? And let's stay strong and healthy in these moments, especially in a year or two, or however the heck long we're going to be facing this pandemic. And let's build up our immune systems. Let's find a way to strengthen from the inside out. So it's a lot more, in my opinion, than just being able to touch your toes or stay in a class. But I think there's really cool ways for you simply to find mobility, to get stronger in the body, which then helps us be healthier, stronger, better people for the other people in our lives.
Someone on this call, or you, Jackie, I guess your personal experience, like when you talked about that mind body connection. So what kind of things changed for you, or feelings did you have, or thoughts that you feel that yoga either triggered that, or that was like the keystone change you made in your life?
This mind body connection for me is, in a multitude of ways, but really knowing when something doesn't feel right, like when you feel pain versus discomfort, where you feel strong versus weak, you feel energized versus tired. Like how do you treat yourself with that? And when you have a lot of energy, take it and use it. And when you don't, give yourself the rest, because the rest is just as important. But we don't ever recognize those things if you don't take some time, and if you don't start to understand you and the signs that your mind or your body give you. But another thing, with that concept of meditation in a yoga class, we focus so much on breathing techniques, but also breathing as you move, using as much of your lung capacity as you can use, and then connecting all of that into the strength of the postures in the class. If you're doing that, the longer you do it, you realize that you actually just don't have time in those moments to focus on anything else. So you've now just let go of whatever fight you got into with, your coworker, your spouse, your kid on the way in, or whatever to-do list you have after. You've just let it go for whatever period of time it might have been. And by the end, you feel like you have a little bit more clarity. It's never asking, like, we're human and our brain is intended to think. That's what we want it to do. So we don't want it to stop thinking, but we want it to strengthen how it thinks, and then to help our nervous system and, our immune system build as we just understand ourselves and get a little stronger and a little healthier every day by deciding to move.
All right, Jackie, thank you so much. It was awesome. I
Yes.
really appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Great. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.